Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to my Drytron deck profile, and this is the list that I took to the extravaganza. I got 35th place. Just a quick reminder, this was pre-Banlist, so we were still playing with Drytron unbanned and like LP still like free. So yeah, I still did really well despite that, and I got 35th place. Unfortunately, I didn't like top or anything. I think it was top 16 to get a map, but I didn't do that. But I did get an invite to, I think the next invitational qualifier. So we'll see how I do then. So let's go over the list. So we're playing 3 copies of Diviner. I think that this is obviously standard in Directron lists from now on. Like, unfortunately, you just kind of have to like get rid of, $70 per copy to play this deck. So yeah, it's a really great card. Super good to like send, Entis out Zeus. It's like so much utility with the card. It's a great card. Then for ritual monsters, we're playing a little bit different. We're playing the Draconoids, Ben 10 Ultimateness, and we're playing 2 copies of Idaten. The reason I'm playing 2 copies of Idaten is because I don't have the Natasha. It's coming in the mail, so this list isn't entirely complete. I would definitely switch an Idaten out for a Natasha though, so just so that you guys are aware, switch a Idaten for a Natasha. Then for Directron Names, we're playing 3 copies of Alpha, 3 copies of Zeta, and 3 copies of Gamma. So this is a large 3 of everything ratio. Gamma's just insane because like if you have Gamma plus any other Drytron name, you can get access into Fafnir immediately without using their effects, which is like super good in some situations. So I think that this is just really smart. For the rest of the Directron names, we're actually playing a copy of Beta and a copy of Delta. The reason I decided to do this was because I thought a lot of people were going to be on like Graveyard Hate in general, like Cycle Readers or something similar to that. So I decided to play the single copy of Gamma, or sorry, not Gamma, Beta, so maybe it'll come up and I can return Drytrons to the grave. It was trash. It never came up. In the future, this should just be 2 copies of Delta, and I don't think I'm gonna ever go back unless if like the format gets really into like Graveyard Hate. But I don't think it will. I think that the 2 Deltas will be great, so I'm probably gonna be doing that from now on. There was like one situation where it maybe could have came up where my opponent activated Hakero and they banished one of my Drytrons, so like Beta might have came up in that scenario, but I won without it anyways. Like I didn't even need it. So. Yep, for notable Directron names, we're playing 3 copies of Nova, 2 copies of Cyber Emergency, and a copy of Foolish. So this is maybe a little bit odd, this 2 copies of Cyber Emergency. So I was originally deciding if I should play the 3rd copy of Gamma or not, and I decided that I should, and I cut a Cyber Emergency for the Gamma. The reason I did that is so that the deck doesn't play in a Droll as bad. The deck still plays in a Droll. I probably should just play the 3 Cyber Emergencies anyways and just deal with it, and then maybe in game 2 and 3 just side out like as a copy or 2. I don't know. It does mess with consistency, but it doesn't play in a Droll. Like, it's a really big like conundrum I'm in, so I can't really decide if I should play like 2 or 3 moving forward. Likely I'll probably be playing 3, and I'll probably just have to eat Drolls, so that's likely what's gonna happen. Then we're playing 2 copies of Mediona Striketron because I'm paranoid about this card getting banished. There shouldn't be any reason why I should be playing the second one. I'm probably going to be cutting it. There are like some situations where it comes up where the second one's nice to have, especially to get like the extra plus with Zeta is sometimes really good. But like at that point you're already winning the game, right? So it's not really necessary to do that. So I feel like playing just the one is fine. I know the second one does come up, but like typically you're already winning when that happens. Then for hand Trapstoppers, we're playing one Called By and Instant Fusion to like directly stop hand traps. They're great cards, nothing to say about them. Then for like other notable like hand Trapstoppers, 3 copies of Orange Light, but this is also like really good to negate your opponent's stuff. Then we're also playing 2 copies of Ava. Don't play 1, this card's really good, especially because you can normal summon and make Fafnir. Like that comes up actually pretty often. Especially in hands where you draw like a single Drytron or you're going against like an Appaloosa board. You can just like Drytron Nova and then normal summon Ava and then like kill the Appaloosa with a like Zeus or something like that. It's really nice. It's especially nice when we get to the extra deck. I'll explain something else. Then for the last one we're playing is 1 copy of Lancia. I played this, I should have played multiples in the main deck, but I didn't because I played so many Tri-Brigades. It was insane. This should definitely be like a staple in the main deck at this point. Honestly, this card's just ridiculous, especially because like it doubles as like a negate if you send it off of Herald of the orange light. So it's not even like dead against other matchups, you know. So I feel like I should definitely be playing more copies of Lancia, but being able to search this off of Ben 10 is just so powerful. I love it. It's an amazing card. Next, we're playing 2 copies of Ash Blossom. This was a last-minute decision. I think that this was 2 copies of Preparation of Rites, the one that searches the level 6 or lower ritual. I decided to cut them from my list entirely because, like, I don't need rituals in my hand, I need Drytrons in my hand. So I decided to cut them and instead just play Ash Blossoms. Great choice, honestly. I don't regret it, and it was a pretty decent like side-out target if I couldn't decide what to side out. Then the last hand trap we play is 3 copies of Impermanence. This should be droplets. I just don't own droplets at the moment. I bought them, but they haven't came in yet. So same thing with Natasha. These should be droplets. Other than that, like the deck is like great. I might even find a spot for this like in the side deck, even if I play droplets, just because like this is so good against the Tri Brigade deck. In fact, it might be Valor's in the future because Valor's a level 1 hand trap that you can actually normal summon and make Fafnir with. So that's probably what I'm going to do, but we'll have to see when we get later on into the format. 2 copies of Mu Beta Fafnir with the 1 copy of Beatrice. These are just like combo pieces in the extra deck, so they're fantastic cards. I don't think there's much to say about that. A copy of Lyreless Assembled Nightingale, which goes along with our Zeus package. So Zeus is just insane. It comes up so often. I think I made this like maybe every other game or at least every 3rd game. It was very often that it came up, and if I didn't have it, I would have lost those games for sure. So there were some games where I did lose with it anyways, but that was just because the rest of my hand was bad. But like sometimes this card just carries by itself, which is so nuts. So yeah, I love it. There's even some times where Fafnir can make Zeus. Like the situation I was mentioning where you Nova into a Directron name, and then you normal summon Ava or like any level 1 monster, and then make Fafnir, and then your opponent, if they have like an Appaloosa with like 3 negates, they're forced to negate the Fafnir, otherwise you combo, and if they don't negate the Fafnir, then or if they do negate the Fafnir, you attack over it. If they don't negate the Fafnir, you just keep going, you know, like you just keep using your Drytron like names. In that situation, they're going to have to use the Appaloosa at some point, so they're just better off negating the Fafnir in the first place. So it's just like so good because you clear the Appaloosa, and then sometimes after you clear their Appaloosa, they have like nothing else to sit on sometimes. So you just sit on a Zeus with like 4 mats, and then they can't do anything. They just like lose. It's great. So this extra deck is honestly like really good. It's honestly, I think, perfect. I don't think I'd change anything. The rest of it, so for fusions, Millennium Eyes and Entis, and then so Entis is a Herald target. Same thing with the Herald of Arclight, or Diviner target, I guess. Like, they're all Herald cards, aren't they? But yeah, Millennium Eyes being able to summon off of Instant Fusion is just so good, especially because it's a level 1 monster. That makes like it just so much better because like you can actually like combo with it if you draw like Instant Fusion plus another Drytron. So it fixes your hand and like stops hand traps. Like, what else could you ask for? It's just such a good card. Entis is so good to pop Zeus, and Herald is great just to search. I wouldn't play more than 1 Herald. I don't think it's necessary, but that's just my personal opinion. I just haven't had it come up very often. Then for links, Link Karibo, Phoenix, Unicorn, IP, Appaloosa, and Access Code. So I don't think there's a whole lot to say about these. These are great. A lot of people aren't playing the Appaloosa. My advice is do it because it is insane. Just having an extra backup plan where you could just consolidate all of your Link monsters into an Appaloosa for like 4 negates, and then just like passing is like, okay, what is Tri Brigade gonna do? What is like Drytron gonna do? Like, if they don't have a secondary card to negate the Appaloosa, you're gonna win, especially because they probably wasted their hand to like stop your board from developing in the first place. If you just consolidate everything into an Appaloosa, it's very hard for them to come back. I guess it's the same thing with like IP, but it's also part of the end board. So, yep. Moving on into the side deck, I just kind of like made this. There wasn't any really thought put into it. So 3 copies of Droll, 3 copies of Bell, 3 copies of Dark Ruler, 3 copies of Twin, a Reboot, and a Feather Duster with the lone copy of Artifact Lancia. So yeah, I guess I'll go over everything really quick. So Droll for the Drytron matchup. Bell is for any deck that sides like Cycle Reader against me. It's especially good against like Tri-Brigade because Revolt, you can like chain Bell and negate it, which is really good. Sometimes at that point you're already losing the match though, so like it's not exactly like perfect, but it is kind of nice in some situations. Then we're playing the Dark Rulers. That's also kind of for Drytron, I guess, technically. It's also technically for Dragon Link. I didn't play any Dragon Link today, but I did play against Drytron. Would have been nice. I mean, I saw it, but I also saw Droll, so I just drolled them, and then he ended their turn anyways, so, like, I just killed him through it, so the Dark Ruler didn't come up in those situations. Twins, just for, like, any back row deck, and the Reboot and the Feather Duster for the same reason. Should all invoke Dogmatica is, like, really, like, nice right now. I don't think you want to play Lightning Storms, just because you can't chain Lightning Storm to, like, a Shadal Sism, so I think it's better to just play the Twin Twister in that scenario because you can actually like chain pop it and then they don't get the window. Same thing with Red Reboot, and then the lone copy of Feather Duster is just because Feather Duster is pretty good. It doesn't really have any other synergy with the cards, but if you're going with the theory of like trying to chain to Schism, this should be like a Cosmic or something, I guess. One copy of Lancia is just an extra search target. This could definitely just be another, like, you could play multiple copies of Lancia. In fact, like, it's just such a good card, but, yeah, I just played the two, like, throughout my list, and I think that it, like, worked out fine, but I definitely wish I would have played more, especially because I played against 5 Tri-Brigades. Yeah, 5. And then I played against 2 other Eldritch decks, like, one of them was an Invoke Dogmatica, and then the other one was, I think, just a normal Dogmatica variant. I didn't see any Invoke cards, so yeah, crazy day. I did pretty well with the list overall. I went 5-3, only losing 3 matches to Tri-Brigade. And the last match we played against was a Drytron deck, which I somehow, I don't know how, but I ended up beating him there too, especially because I'm newer to the deck and he had been playing it for a while. But honestly, overall, I'm very, very satisfied with this deck. I'm going to make a couple of tweaks to it, but like, for the most part, like, I think this deck is just very, very solid for the upcoming format. So I would recommend picking it up if you're, you know, on the fence about it. Definitely do it. It's just such a fun deck. And if you are, you know, looking for Drytron content, I guess, I'm likely going to be uploading a lot of Drytron videos for the next, like, couple of months because I have the whole deck and I don't have any reason to not play it. So subscribe if you're interested in seeing more Directron stuff. With all that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.